You're almost there. You still hear us, though, right?
Yes, yeah, I can hear y'all.
Okay. You know it's gonna get that feedback if you don't. Okay.
Yeah, I'm cutting it down.
Matter of fact, I might. I'm just gonna mute it.
Oh, I hate when they do that.
Can you just mute the when you go to YouTube, just mute the video volume. And how you can mute it.
I'll just be cutting volume all the way down.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what you mean.
See, watch this.
Ain't no mute option on here. I just cut it down with the volume button.
See, I mute that so we ain't getting a double feedback.
That don't show up on your phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Now we ready. Now we live. And we record. Okay. All right. So peace, everybody. Peace. You are now tuned in to Remnants Gathering. I am Ernest.
And I'm Camson the Oracle.
When we are Remnants Gathering, and we have our brother, family, none other than Ani Osaru on with us, and we are back for part 2. We're gonna be dealing with definitely a lot of stuff on this bill. We're gonna piggyback on some of the things that we talked about in the first segment of life after death. What really happens when we die?
Are we?
Just a little bit. He did have something that he wanted to. Yeah.
Right.
And then after that, we're gonna get into some more relevant stuff. Yeah. So without any further ado, anything you want to say before we
No, I'm excited because we always end up on these similar wavelengths, even though we're not talking. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
I like the randomness of it.
That's
all.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, Andy.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to come back and clarify some things and move into some other stuff that's actually happening at this point of time. We was talking about one thing we missed on the last one, how health plays a factor. Process of death, whatnot. The blood toxicity. Blood toxicity is the biggest thing because the blood has the ancestors in it. And basically the attack of what they're doing is what we're consuming in our body. I talked about phage lambda. There is a morphogenetic field around each and every one of us. And your blood is conducive into the environment that you're in, and it unpacks the aura or the carbon. It's unpacking itself in your environment. That's why they put us into a Caucasian, Eurocentric type of environment, like in the house all day. This is a cave.
Yeah,
there's nothing organic. There's nothing organic about this. You're in a house. This is mimicking a cave. You know, you're not getting sun. You know, back then when we was in rulership, we would get sun all day until it went down. You know, supercharged batteries. We was supercharged battery. You know, the relationship between the darkness and the light was on a whole higher vibratory level. And we're the only ones who can dwell in both realms of light and darkness. So what we consume, eating, is another thing that's going to be predetermined on where you go during death. If you're not eating things properly, I suggest a plant-based diet, a vegan. All that vegan stuff is kind of, you know, some of the new stuff they got.
Impossibles.
it messes you up too. You need to stay raw. Raw vegan. It's called raw vegan. You look at these products, at Earth Fair, Trader Joe's, and they be trying to make popcorn vegan and stuff like that. Nah, you need to clear your blood out.
Mm-hmm.
Clean your blood out. Drink water in the morning. Look at the sun. What color of the sun is based on what type of fruit you eat that day. And remember, every time you consume meat, you consume the memories, and you consume the homunculus egregore of all of the animal material that you're putting in your body. So you have all of the memories, you have all of the lower energy facets of those animals entering into your body, and that can change your morphogenetic field, your thought forms, your subconscious. You start getting the subconscious of some pig.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Man, that's deep.
So that's just real important. So this is what I wanted to touch upon. We can get into it whenever y'all ready to get into it.
Okay.
Cool. We flowing with you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's so important before we go further, because I was just having a conversation with the ancestors, and that was basically the conversation. And so that I was just having with them about that. So when you look at how Chadwick Boseman, how he left here, just from my communication with him, the colon cancer thing, the young lady that played in Baps with Halle Berry died of colon cancer right after. But there's a deeper spiritual message behind that, which is a few things, but which is the intestine of melanated people is much longer than the intestine of Caucasians, people of other races. So it takes longer for things to move through us. And that's a scientific fact. If you look it up, you'll see there are these differences. And so the communication spiritual, I was like, what is happening that somebody who has the resources and the access, they, I'm sure they was getting paid good enough to, like, what message is that? Why would you? And so Chadwick told me, well, there are typically three ways that you can choose to exit. And I chose to exit in a manner that was going to bring attention to the body, the temple, the intestine, the blood, and what you're eating. And when he told me that, I was just like, that's either super courageous or stupid. I was like, dude, we were waiting on another movie, but he was just like, no, I chose that, because he said, that's the #1 killer of Black men. And colon cancer and prostate cancer is the #1 killer of African-American men. He was like, the only way that I was going to get the attention, he was like, don't just look at the physical aspect of it, look at the spiritual implications of that. And so basically he was just like, to have a hero, your Heru, to have to leave here in that manner, I knew that was going to draw the attention that was necessary to these things so that we can get back to where we fell from, which I thought was really deep and brave, but that's hard to let that be your exit point. So that's what the communication between us after he transitioned, and I did talk about that in the channeling that I did with him, where I communicated with his spirit. But yeah, he chose that to bring attention to that. So yeah, it's beautiful that you're talking about that, because I think that's one of the biggest struggles in our community, is connecting spirituality and what we're intaking into our body.
That old saying, you are what you eat. It just goes to show that there's even way more depth to that than it just being, you know what I'm saying, what we've always thought it to be. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that rings. That's very high frequency that you're sharing with everyone. They do attack Black people in certain ways, and the food industry is martial law. Everybody's waiting on the tanks to roll down the street. The tanks, all of the military force, they call it the Black Projects. It's a military industrial complex. And the Black Project has to do, whenever you hear project, that's associated with Black people. They say we live in project. We are the project. And the project is what they're going to do in trying to stop our chaos magic right now as chaos beings. I'm going to go into a lot of information about that, but most definitely, where you go is based on what you consume throughout your life. And this is quintessential because in all magical systems, Ifa, in all of them, going into voodoo, Palo Mayombe, any magical system, even into rune magic, which I'm going to talk about a little bit too, they feed the spirits. They call it feeding. So even what we feed on the physical level is a correspondence on a spiritual level in what we're doing and what we're trying to magically create as a functional system that's going to get us out of the gestalt that they're implementing on our community right now. So y'all let me know if I need to elaborate more. We can get into some of that, some other things.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's good. To detox the pineal gland is just one level of it. But I think it's great that you got on that and connecting that, because that is the architecture of your afterlife will be based on what you are doing here. And even potential next lives if you incarnate again. So we have to stop looking at things in a linear fashion and begin to look at things as the immortal beings that we are. So for those of you who might be struggling with this, it's definitely a struggle because eating for us is tied to our soul and emotions, hence the term soul food. And so we were having to eat to survive for a very long time. So you're gonna have to just remind yourself that I'm not eating to survive, I'm eating to thrive. I'm not living to eat, I'm eating to live. It's a communication you gotta have with yourself. So, you know, have your cheat days. Everybody needs a cheat day or a moment. But this is more so about being able to be committed, have honor and integrity with what you're doing to your temple. Because you cannot complain about police officers killing our people, you know, and not acknowledge the fact that we're killing ourselves. So it's very hypocritical. And you have to be, so to have expanded consciousness, you're gonna need high frequency foods and high frequency herbs so that your consciousness can expand. Otherwise, it's gonna be very overwhelming. And a lot of us are not able to communicate with spirit guides and tap in and get messages and remember dreams because it's so much shit in our colon to where the communication is blocked up. So let that be a motivation for you to know it's not just about losing weight or being healthy or just to be able to, you know, kudos to me, look, I ate vegan for a week, you know, that's ego shit. This is like some really spiritual stuff. And so when you look at the fact that the food pyramid, that they even constructed it in the form of a pyramid and taught it to us based on the diet of being slaves and told it was planet lockdown right there. And so just look at the structure of that pyramid and pay attention to what's at the top of that pyramid. There's always some truth among the lies. And so I've done a video giving you the specific frequencies for certain foods. So that's on our channel, and you can do your own research as well and find out what frequency are the foods that you eat the most. There is a specific amount of hertz within those foods, and there are plenty of lists and maps that will list this for you, and then you can begin adding those higher frequency things to your diet so that you can tap in and be of assistance to the DNA being upgraded. It's going to happen anyway, but you can definitely do something to either delay the process or to support the process.
I agree. And just to add, we're talking about discipline. And one thing in that goes hand in hand with the way we eat and what we're putting into our vessels and how it communicates and corresponds with our souls, we also got to keep in mind intermittent fasting. And that is something that I know we used to do more of in times past, but I'm gonna challenge myself to be more of a faster in regards, because I've improved the way that I eat, but at the same time, I need to be able to go longer periods of time without even having to eat anything. And so that, along with watching how we eat and what we eat, I think it would definitely boost and enhance our quality of spiritual connection as we move forward. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a book by Elijah Muhammad called How to Eat to Live. It was recommended to me, and I needed to learn how to fast to get out of some things I was going through earlier with my health. I had learned how to fast, and the fasting came between eating what I said earlier, a fruit that resembled the sun in the morning, eating nothing else till 4 o'clock. And when I did eat, it had to be like soups, like nothing solid, had to be like soups.
Yeah.
And what began to happen, understand the word Anubis and anus is the same thing. No, if you go back and watch the movie Mummy, the tomb of Anubis, or the Pharaoh's tomb of Imhotep, was in the anus of Anubis. If you go back and watch the movie. So it's when you talk about Anu, anus is a doorway where you need to exit out this toxicity inside of you. Even though it's real graphic to talk like that, but we're penetrating into the thresholds of the topics and areas that metaphysicians don't really go into. If you're going to receive the proper frequencies of that radiation and that ultraviolet light coming into the Van Allen belt and into our morphogenetic fields, you can't have all that stuff in your colon. You got to clean out.
Right.
Got to be clean. Vegan, whatever you is, it's still gonna come out the same way. So make sure you're clean, drinking water, and getting enough sun, so you can make the proper transition. Even the Tibetan Book of the Dead said, when we wanted to die, we ate 3 times a day. Call it the Bardo rim. Bardo rim. That's what he called it. So you got to watch that.
Right. Yeah, we changed that, and we'll go ahead and move forward so we can get into some of this current event stuff. But we definitely, even when we were Hebrew Israelites, we broke that whole little dynamic down of eating 3 times a day and how that's too much eating, basically. So yeah, I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Okay.
We can get into the next thing.
All right. Let me y'all enable my screen sharing. I'm gonna show them something real quick.
Okay. And I want to say one more thing too that I realized when the pandemic hit. Seems like for a lot of us, food became more of a comfort thing during this pandemic, and a lot of stuff that is happening. And it's crazy because now seems like McDonald's and other places, it'd be more packed now than it was prior to this whole pandemic situation. And when we saw Krispy Kreme donuts, we were riding through a neighborhood that, is a neighborhood where it's plenty of some neighborhoods, it's just not anything healthy to really get and eat. It's hard to get to it. But when you're in a neighborhood and they got healthy stuff on every block, but the McDonald's is packed and Krispy Kreme is packed, it lets you know that, it's so much deeper than that, just food. And so a lot of the mental health issues that we're having is also because of what we're eating and consuming the karma of animals, of dead animals. So that's something I just wanted to add in there, because with the energy of fear that they have cast over us and by what they're doing every day, it is going to trigger you to want to eat to comfort yourself. So if you can find stuff that's healthy to eat and let that be your comfort food, that way you're pulling yourself out of the frequency to have more mental imbalances. And so really that's one of the main issues with mental health. And the chicken sandwich from what was it? The chicken sandwich ritual that they did? Popeyes is a perfect example where people were stabbing each other, killing each other over this chicken sandwich. So we did a whole shit on that too. Yeah. So it's really that deep. It's really that deep.
Yeah.
And even in the movie Coming to America, they kind of played on it. I know you're gonna mention some of that.
Right.
But they had McFlurbies.
And he said right.
And he made the veggie burger, and Eddie Murphy was It was horrible to him. You see how they added that in there?
Yeah, I saw that. You saw they had to make McDowell's in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh man.
That was hilarious.
Right. It was a McBowell's.
Go mess up your bowels.
McDowell's and bowels.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Right.
So yeah, I just wanted to segue and yeah, the McDowell's thing was big because y'all know I get into like the gematria of things that's happening. Right. And even when you look up McDowell's, you're going to get the number 47. And when it comes to masonry, what's happening in this country, there's key numbers that decodes how the Kabbalah, which is how creation is permeated forth in the detailing of how sacred geometrical shapes come together to form light. And you have the Kalipaf, which is the tree of death in the religious text of knowledge and how darkness and destruction, how shadow, which is a form of light. Some people mistake shadows and light as something separate. The darkness, shadows is the first form of light. And they do all types of rituals based on the science of light and darkness. This is a Cabal movie. They just dropped. And I want people to remove their feelings first when we dissect this stuff, because a lot of people look into regalia now in the conscious community. What is regalia? That's like wearing an ankh, wearing an African flag, wearing a Bobby Hemmett shirt, anything that pertains to putting on some type of symbology to make people think that you're different or you're identifying as a different frequency is regalia. And we've indulged in, the most metaphysical occult community have fallen into the regalia, and Coming to America is a regalia movie. It ain't nothing but a bunch of sigilmancy and archetypal patterns, and we have to break down a couple of things, and I'm sure y'all have something to piggyback off me that y'all saw as well. But let's just start with the photo that I'm showing right now. Coming to America equals 113 in Gematria. Kobe Bryant, going back to Kobe Bryant, equals 113 in Gematria. The movie was 157 minutes long. If you type Kobe Bryant in Gematria, you get 157 as well as 113. So you 157, still a ritual playing off Kobe, because Kobe, the energy they use in Kobe was the god El, the purple and the gold. Also the sacrificing of the bull, because the movie was a Boule movie. And I showed people how the Boule symbol is the symbol of a goddess. The first transsexual deity known to man was a goddess named Cybele. Her name is also Kybella, and the word Kabbalah comes from Kybella, and she's called the Black Stone. So you get the Kaaba, the Kabbalah, Ka in the Ba, and you got this deity where they merge masculine and feminine principles, just like the Baphomet. And they made this movie into a feminist movie, which I'm gonna detail why. It's because a lot of feminists or a lot of Black women, they'll regurgitate feminist type point of views, even when they're spiritual, saying, oh, it's about the divine feminine. It's divine feminine. Yes, it's the divine feminine, but we have to break down that the divine feminine goes past the avatar of a Black woman. The divine feminine is talking about the uncreated realities of these realms. That's the divine feminine, because the foundation of these realities is something that's uncreated and then is brought forth into creation. And we come from that particular realm. It's called nothingness. That's what chaos is. Chaos is the force that moves everything forward. How we transition from one thing to another, the energy behind that is chaos. And the energy that chaos permeates from is nothingness. Without nothingness, none of this can flow. So just to talk about a couple of things, the movie is in Rick Ross' house, originally Evander Holyfield's house. I won't even get into their gematria. I'll wait and break that down later, which is very relative. But it seems like a Moorish castle in the middle of Africa. And Zamunda, as Panic Bobby, a lot of people explain, is the spiritual realm. Zamunda isn't supposed to be representative of something physical, but what the white supremacists, what the Archons, anybody who helped create this system is trying to make Zamunda and Wakanda into some type of superficial thing in Black people's minds. And we have to pick up on that and understand and redirect that energy, say, oh, wait a second. They're talking about an ancestral plane. They're not talking about nothing physical or a particular people. They're talking about something spiritual, which has nothing to do with an apparatus of Black people living into some royalty on this planet. Everything is representative of archetypes when it comes to metaphysics and occultism. And we want to detail what exactly that is. Did y'all have anything before I go a little bit further?
No, that's beautiful. Just to add, I think we have to remember, because Hollywood and the people that own most of the distribution of entertainment, you know, the small hats, the cabal, the Kabbalists, the form of magic that they use, it is being used to lock down consciousness. And so when you look at it and process it through that filter, a good way to know what's really going on and be able to decode yourself is to see that they're always going to bring stuff down to a 2D, 3D consciousness. So whenever they're showing you something that's happened physically, like with the zombie apocalypse and things like that, that shit is happening in the astral realm. That is happening in a dimension that's outside of our light spectrum of what we can see. So this is significant of the royal lineage and that energy current, you know, within that. So just keep that in mind, because a lot of times we're looking to create something in the 3D world that matches what we have been sold to be, the depiction of success and this, that, and the other. And you just have to realize that they're always going to bring stuff down to a 2D, 3D thing and try to make it seem like it's physical, because they're materialists. They want us to be materialists. And so to be a materialist, it does impede on your ability to be a spiritualist. So absolutely, I'm glad that you mentioned that this is not a place. It's more so a dimension in which our ancestors are the architects of.
Right. That's exactly what it is. And
dimension. That's real estate they have not been able to get.
Yeah, they're trying to play like they're the like this is the prison, they're the wardens, when in actuality, they're prisoners of this place. This place is just a stepping stone for us. You know, they try to make, oh, we're in prison. We're in prison. Nah, this is a stepping stone. This is a cocoon. They call it the tikkun in the Kabbalah. It's a transformative place. So going more into the movie, you're going to see them show the fez, which tells you that the Moors, there's a segue of the science on the Moors, where there's separate groups of Moors that's tied into this thing that that's happening in the world. So we think that a white man or a couple of white families are just moving stuff around and controlling everybody's lives through the banking system. And that's what they want you to believe. That's what they put into The Simpsons, Futurama, all of these type shows. But in actuality, there's still a group of melanated people still running the planet. That's hard to believe, isn't it? What if I told you that if you look into the order of Hatshepsut, which was the first female pharaoh in Kemet, then you will begin to understand that the cult of the feminine started in the Kushite dynasties, which they're the ones who wore the fez first, and they're the ones who transferred a cult of the feminine into Indus Kush and into Europe, which was called Tartaria, which is why they're going to show you the griffin in a minute, which is still Cybele. Let me make that clear. Whenever you see the griffin, we're still talking Cybele. Let me make this bigger. So in this picture, they're showing his daughters walking out of the room, and they show these guys who's guarding the Zamunda Palace, and they have the red hat on. I talked about the black hats, the white hats, the gray hats. The red hats are the Moors. There's a Moorish group of melanated people in America and in Europe, some in Africa. They used to be called Idris, the upper region of Africa, or the Berbers, which are the first place where the Moors moved out of was in the Berber region, called Idris, which is why Idris Elba was one of the first celebrities to catch coronavirus, if you can remember that, him and Tom Hanks. Is still talking about the Moors. And I got an email from a white boy who used to work for the Obama administration in the White House, part of that whole QAnon thing, that he said the whole entire agenda is to eliminate Moorish citizenship from Black people in the country. And you remember the killing of Corn Gaines during the Obama administration, a girl who showed her Moorish stuff to get around a traffic ticket, or she stopped at a, what you call it when you gotta pay a fee. Can't remember what you call it. Yeah. Toll. Yeah, toll. Yeah, toll. She got stopped, and she put up the little sign, and then they found her in her house and shot her and her son. They gave the family like $30-something million. I hope it wasn't 38 million. I'm gonna have to look that up, because that's a gematria people don't know about. Because you know that Eddie Murphy's movies together has accumulated over $3.8 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, and Trump pardoned Harry O, who funded Eddie Murphy in his first comedy stint. Trump pardoned him in Kodak Black before he left office and transferred administration over to Joe Biden. So you got to look into this Harry O guy, who was some type of big time drug dealer. A lot of the drug dealers in the Black community funded a lot of our people in entertainment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they go back to the Dark Alliance from West Coast rap, and they was really getting that solidified to be able to upgrade on how they were doing that. But yeah.
Right. That's a part that is a part of it. And all you have to do is follow the gematria, because we're going to take it to another level. We're going to take it to the periodic table, and I'm going to take it to even the Hebrew aspect of gematria, which is going to relate it back to the Kabbalah. We may not do it, today, but we're getting better at that. Yeah, I'll be able to show that. Yeah. So right here, let's get back to what I'm showing you. So he had 3 daughters. Each one of the daughters represented a different nation of the melanated race. You're going to see them have 3 different personalities. They kind of look like they're 3 different. They don't even all look the same. They look like they're from you know, like almost different seeds. If you really pay attention to that.
Right.
Yeah, did you notice that?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Noah having the 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And go back to the mythology of that. They took it and they flipped it and used daughters instead of sons. And so it's a lot of similarities between those 2 things. So,
I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. And because the George Floyd was talking about the word Floyd means flood. And it is played off the 3 sons of Noah who repopulated the earth after the flood, which was Ham, Shem, and Set, or Japheth in some books. So this was a representative of that, and that's why I told everybody it was a feminist movie. A lot of people heckled me, you know, because of that, but I'm gonna prove it a little bit more. So let's move forward. They're gonna show you the Ark of the Covenant in the movie, which is still telling you they're gonna show the god Kepra. They're gonna show the 2 dung beetles. They're gonna show the pineal gland right here. And this is an alchemical symbol right here of how everything forged through the element of Mercury, which is representative of Hermes, the messenger, which melanin is the messenger. You have to understand that as well. They try to call this new type of vaccination messenger RNA. Forget that.
Yeah.
No, you got the saying, don't kill the messenger. Well, this time the messenger is gonna kill your ass. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that. But yeah, this representative of Ark of the Covenant right here. As we said earlier, they had the McDowells in the middle of African utopia of a place, because people don't even understand that Africa is so huge that they haven't even been to all the places in Africa yet. They haven't. There's some places man hasn't even been.
Right.
That's how big it is.
Right.
You know, so
and you don't know what's
here. Right. You won't even know what's actually. So this was a ritual. You know, you got the elephant walking around and gotta make all of the stuff you could have invested in. You invested in McDowell's and Queens in Queens, New York. You see how the name Queens go back into the 3 daughters as well. You know, everything's represented. Bobby used to talk about the 3 sisters. You know, Otisha, Shayona, and then Shumala, you know, all of the sisters and whatnot. They're playing off that. They're actually playing off that. He's gonna have this sparring match with his daughters. And you know, from the old movie, he would spar when he was younger as Prince Akeem. He would spar. They were sparring back then. But this is further representative that each daughter is a different nation. You see how they have on different costumes? Each and every one of them have different costumes, and then they have that chimera or griffin on the ground, which is the symbol of the boule. If you go and look at what's on LeBron's chest as a tattoo, you're going to see a woman's head on a chimera, which is the goddess Cybele, which is a transsexual deity. I've made videos on it, and I showed even in the latest American Gods episode, because they're going to tell Eddie Murphy in the movie that if you want to find your son, you're going to have to follow the Thunderbird.
Right.
In American Gods, they say follow the Thunderbird. And the Thunderbird is quintessential in American mythology, and we don't know nothing about the Thunderbird. But there's a hidden mystery behind the Thunderbird and what the Phoenix is, because the Phoenix is melanin too. Because the Phoenix rises out ash. That's light coming out of the ash or whatnot. But so they got him in all black. That's representative of the Lord of the Perfect Black Osiris. He's battling. His daughters was supposed to be the heirs to the throne, but in Zamunda, only a son can be an heir. which is still a cult. They're talking about the literal sun. And yeah, it's still a cult, but nonetheless, understand that this year is the 117th anniversary of the Boule. It's the 117th anniversary when they stormed Capitol Hill. You remember when they stormed into Zamunda, the palace? That was the reenactment of storming into Capitol Hill when they ran up in there. When they ran up in there. Don't forget that this is the 117th Congress of this country. So you got the 117th year of the Boule and the 117th Congress that we've had in this country. So the number 117 in Gematria is still important, which is still 9. It's still a code and hidden. Then you got the checkered floors on the ground. So you already know what the deal is with that. You already rolled that. You know, have to harp on that. So they're gonna show a Babalao. Real ugly. I said, I told her, I said, you could be looking at a clone. I said, no. I said, what about
a beta version?
Yeah.
A black Tales to the Crypt.
Yeah.
You know, so this was a ritual.
Absolutely.
Did you remember in the movie, it kept, you don't know if this is a man or a woman. You remember they called him an auntie in the movie?
Yeah. Sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
And it's, what is this a male or a female?
Yeah.
That's a ritual.
Yeah.
So y'all was saying something?
No. We were just saying, when we was watching it, we was like, we can't tell what it was.
Right. That they did that purposely. Now they said he was a Babalao. They said it was a Babalao. And basically what they wanted to do, they wanted to desecrate what the ancient magical system of Africa was and make this thing into a hideous beast. You remember he kept spitting.
Right. Yep.
He kept spitting. That's I'm telling you, that's a spell. That's a spell.
You know, not to cut you off, but I don't want to forget, but it's interesting you said that because something was really bothering me about that and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I remember they triggering, it's an intentional triggering because you remember we've been dealing with the white lady spitting on the black woman who was preparing her food. So they like to re-trigger trauma, and spitting is something that's been done to us since we was brought over here as one of the ways to basically express their disgust and express their superiority over us with spitting. And so if you just look at the history of how spitting has been used, that is definitely a psychological weapon that they used in here, which was really interesting. But yeah, it made me remember that whole ritual with the white lady spitting on the woman.
Right. And they used to do that a lot. And that transfers even into hip hop, because they say when you rhyming, you spitting. You know, you be spitting or whatnot. So it's talking about rhythm and harmonic resonance. But he was about to spit on Semi. And Semi, I don't think I have a picture right here of him, but Semi is representative of semi-consciousness, semi-conscious proportion of the Black society. People that are woke, that's fake. Wokeness is regalia. When you say you're woke, oh, I'm woke or whatnot. The woke type thing is a government invention to basically sell consciousness to the society. And in the future, they're going to make wokeness, they're going to weaponize wokeness and say, see how hotepish these people are? You know, that's another word they took. They took a divine word from Kemet and made it negative. That's what the white man did. Then you got these Negroes that follow up behind that, because some Negroes favor white approval more than building Black nations and building back their spirituality. You got to understand that too. They want white favor. That's what they want. So he gonna tell them that he has a son. And I really thought the guy that played his son wasn't not a good actor at all. You know, they didn't do a good job. At least he was, you know, from America, because I thought they were gonna do that whole thing and bring, because you know, some people get in their feelings like, oh, we're all melanated, we all from. It's very important that we play the roles of who we are. Very, very important, because I already see the trend in the future. Black people from America won't be able to play themselves. They won't go back and get the movie Ocean 13 with Rihanna in it. In the movie, Rihanna she wasn't even the black girl in the movie. It was the damn Asian girl. And there's an Asian thing going on right now where they about to make a bill on black people. Joe Biden, crime bill Biden, about to make a crime bill on blacks and Asians. Like blacks are disparaging Asians, are racist against Asians. Yeah, we can talk about that later. But it was a Chinese girl in the movie named Aquafina, which is a YouTube phenomenon rapper. You know, we let all types of people into our culture. Say, oh, it's not ours, it's everybody. You know, we the only ones that do that. Let us put on some samurai robes and start swinging some swords around, see what happens to our ass, whatnot. But yeah, so they said that he got a son in America. What's
and why
going
they have
on
to
is
use that the drawing reminds me of when you have to go to a sketch artist when a crime has been committed. Exactly. And they made sure that they made that drawing look like exactly that.
Not a real image, but a sketch.
Think about that too. That was another subliminal programming with that. That looked like some shit a sketch artist drew to identify a criminal. They could have used so many other images. This is the branding that the black man is a criminal. He's a beast. He's savage. Can't be trusted. I mean, why? Out of all things, they didn't put no color to it. No, you know, the only thing worse would have been a mugshot. And it would have been basically the same subliminal message. But yeah.
Right. Well, what that is, well, I showed you that the griffin is the symbol of Zamunda. And the griffin is the symbol of the Tartarian Empire and the last remnants of the Tartarian Empire, which was destroyed by the Nazi Party, was called the Crimeans. Where the word crime comes from. That's where the word criminal comes from. The Crimean comes from the Tartaria, Tartarus, Titan. All of these things, they use all of these facets. We have to understand what they got going on. That is interesting. And it does look like a drawing of a sketcher when the police is looking to identify a criminal. So what's happening is he figures out that Semi got him basically under the influence, under some marijuana, which I told everybody that the marijuana is cloning everybody. You know, you got Negroes that's going to defend the marijuana to the end. You got them type people, but it ain't marijuana. It's being, even Wesley Muhammad told you that they're using a chemical in the marijuana called aroma, which is a ice pick to the brain, to the pituitary brain, and it activates estrogen in black men, and it activates testosterone in black women. Why are we having a dilemma and a rift between the black men and the black women? We have too much estrogen being pumped into the black man and too much testosterone being pumped into the black woman. That's the dilemma, because the white man has come out and said that I'm the best of my race and the black woman is the best of the black race. That's what he's come out and said. And I'll feed right back into the black women's head. Oh, yeah, we the best. These Negroes ain't nothing. We don't need them. I'm independent. Ain't no woman on earth say that they don't need a man, but our community. No woman on the earth. You ain't never heard no Asian say, whatever language they speak. They don't need no man. You ain't gonna hear that. It's only gonna come from our community because it's goddamn agendas. It's agendas. But look at this agenda. What about all of the stuff about men raping women and how the Me Too movement from Tarana Burke switched into a movement called We As Ourselves now. Y'all need to look that up because the Lovecraft Country girl, Jussie Smollett, just teamed up with the leader of Me Too, and it's called We As Ourselves. Go look up the Gematria too, because in the Chaldean cipher, they equal 57 and 55. And Tarana Burke is the clone of KRS-One. He's 55 years old. He's 55. And We As Ourselves is turning the attention away from men harming women sexually to specifically Black men harming Black women in abuse. So it's no longer Me Too, it's We As Ourselves. They don't change that whole thing and watch what they do as that. And I told people what they're gonna do with that. They're gonna start, Black women are gonna start calling the police on Black men to get them shot to get a big payout for their sons from the government. That's the new thing. You see how they do that? That's what they're gonna start doing.
Curious. Somebody that I know that female called the police on them. It's crazy.
There you go. So now in this scene, the woman got him high and raped him. Nobody in the Black community saw that. That's fine. It's fine for a man to get raped, right?
Right.
That's okay. We can put that in the movie.
Right.
Let Eddie Murphy had raped Leslie Jones and see the feminist articles this weekend. I don't see no articles this weekend about Eddie Murphy getting raped in the movie.
Right.
So you gotta understand. Gotta understand what they doing.
Because they did the same narrative with Cardi B, bragging about how she would drug men. You know, they supposed to be hooking up, but she would drug them and rob them. They might would hook up, but she would make sure that she would drug them and rob them. And this was coming out of her mouth. And the reaction by the public shocked me. I was just like, yo, it's crazy that a lot of people feel like that was cool what she was doing. And like nothing happened as a result of that. And that was one of the biggest stories centered around Cardi B, where I knew that was some social engineering going on there to make it seem like that it was okay to do that.
That's right. You see, they got her in purple. They got her in the highest frequency raping his ass. That ain't by mistake either.
That's right.
Ain't by mistake. So another big ritual. The father said he wanted to have his funeral while he was alive. Then he died at his funeral. I can't make this stuff up, man. This guy said he wanted a funeral while he was alive. Now, this is the guy who plays Darth Vader voice. James Earl Jones played in all types of slave movies, you know, or whatnot, and they keep that chimera up. I can also show you a symbol relative to that. I think it's called the Green Lion in Alchemy. You'll see the Green Lion right here. Can y'all see my screen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You see how this is the same thing? Let me show you what they're doing. You got to pay attention to all of it. So the Green Lion, and they even got one with the chakras right here. Hold on. Let me put the one with the chakras. Okay. You see how this and that in the back, it is the same thing. They just mix it up a little bit.
Right.
And it's all alchemy.
Yeah,
So
that the sun, yeah.
See it. See that. So this is the Hiram Abiff ritual, which Hiram Abiff he's from Tyre, the kingdom of they call it Tyre or Tyre. He is buried in a shallow grave by the three ruffians, which is supposed to be representative of France, Britain, and America in the slave trade, burying the black man in a shallow grave, which is, slavery, prisoners of war, whatever you want to call it. But the metaphysical complex of that, the three ruffians is Jubali, Jubale, and Jubala, which is in the throat chakra of what you have to do to raise the energy up from the perineal muscle, which is right near the coccyx, and using the vibrational, the throat or the vocal cords, that particular muscle or organ in the body to vibrate and to activate the pineal gland during meditation by recanting mantras or mantras. The mantras bring forth the activation is through the vocal cords. So the Jubali, Jubale, Jubala, you'll see that, and they'll have a skeleton inside of a coffin when you look at the Hiram Abiff whole thing in Masonry. This is the same damn thing of what I'm showing you in this picture here. But it was an Osiris ritual. And basically they were talking about the king is dead. They've been doing the king is dead ritual for a long time, going back to JFK, Martin Luther King, Nipsey Hussle. That was a king is dead ritual. Nipsey Hussle was too. So yeah, y'all had anything to add on to that?
It's interesting you're talking about the vocal cords and too. If you look at the vocal cords, it looks just like the yoni. And so if you also go back to one of the lectures, I remember the first time I was enlightened to it was Phil Valentine talking about masonry and talking about the coffin and how the coffin was representative of the yoni as well. So you can just see some other subliminals within this. Actually, we posted it. Damn, my IG got took down. I'll try to repost it. But there's a breakdown of the specific coffin and the specific ritual that's done by Freemasons. And the basis of it is the vocal cords and the combination of the coffin symbolism. It goes back to the yoni. So we're going to keep seeing that a whole lot. So that was another thing that was significant. So to have this symbolism set up the way that they did, and if you notice the red socks, they made sure that stood out in this imagery. So you can just see the setup of the imagery, and I can't help but think about, you see the swirls, and we know the swirls is representative of creation, but it's also representative of divine feminine energy, as well with the swirls and the curvature and the Fibonacci sequence. And so this is alchemically, it was a lot going on in this one image right here.
That's right. That was profound. Yeah, I see the swirls and all of that. That's all of that together, and they made sure to show you the fez too.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Exactly.
So going forward, remember the scene when Lavelle
for that don't.
Yeah, Ashe. Look at that.
Ashe. So you remember the scene where there was a initiation for Prince Lavelle. He had to get the whiskers from the lion. I just showed you the green lion just now. Now these scissors, we got to understand what these scissors is, because the scissors is snakes. Can you see that?
Right. 2 snakes. Yep.
Yeah.
2 goddamn snakes. And you're going to see these snakes. You got to understand what they're doing. One, they're going to show him going to the forest and show you that. They're going to put the X on his back. X marks the spot. Also, also, the X, if you look at any tomb of Osiris, hold on, let me show you something. Hold on one second. Hold on. I don't care about no gold, whatever that is. It's a Masonic reference. You know the Wakanda sign when they cross the arms? It's an X. Hold on. This ain't what I'm doing. And any when they show Osiris or the pharaohs in the tomb, they cross their arms. And this is the X that they're referencing. And you see the Masonic reference. And they do it in funerals too. The dead god. The dead god. Because how they gonna kill him? They're gonna tell you that the black race doesn't deserve a black man to be the head of it when he gives the damn throne to his daughter at the end of the movie. Everybody got head over heels. Oh, y'all got to get over that. Y'all got all types of stuff for y'all. Nah, the only thing going on right now is transsexuality with transhumanism, LGBT, and feminism. That's the only thing going on. I mean, black men aren't even in, I know Black Lives Matter is owned by George Soros and the Jews, but if you look in the Black Lives Matter mission statement, they don't even state black men in it. They say everybody in the black race but black men.
Right.
Yeah.
You think that's you think that don't mean nothing? You know, it means one out of all the races, right? They don't think that black men are fit to lead because one, the black man is the most masculine man on the planet. What culture had you go in the jungle and go wrestle a goddamn lion or wolf? Name another culture. Well, what culture has a lion on their goddamn continent? But the lion is representative of us, which is the sun. You see the mane around the lion? It is us. You know? And it's you, the female lion hunt. And the male just chill. So they get mad at black men. The female lion hunt. I'm not trying to say that, you know, black men ain't supposed to be out there getting it, but I'm just putting that out there. You know, that's factual. But the lion is representative of the sun. He is the son of Akeem, but they call him the bastard. Who's the bastard? The blacks in America. The bastard.
They made sure that they made sure that they made that terminology known. Every time he referenced him, it was that he was his bastard son.
You know why they did that? Because they have to let the world know that the spectacle of what's happening in America is bastard children, which are the wandering children of Israel, a group of people who what they say isn't even a group of people, because we're ignored as a group of people. That's why they gave us the term African American. So when Africans come over here, when it's time to have the reparation conversation, African's going to say, hey, we're African too. You know, we didn't face slavery, but we faced Jim Crow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see how they do that? This is a diabolical thing happening in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to say, well, how do we determine who's African? White people are biologically African.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They had to, see, let me clarify myself. Somebody cut that up and put it somewhere else. White people can't exist without a strand of our DNA. And they took some albinos and made a new group of people out of us. So they still have a connection. Why do you think that they can procreate with us? You can't procreate if you ain't of the same species.
Mm-hmm.
They have a strand of us. So when you put African American, anybody can get reparations now. Because white people won't go and say, we from Africa.
Yeah.
Right.
Very deceptive and very evil. So we have to understand the dynamics of what they're doing. But this is another thing I want you to see. Because when he go into the forest to get the lion, he got that Kenyan flag on. Now, this is the thing. I knew they was going to do this, but I didn't know they was going to do this. I said, what?
No, I just said they threw that in there because it wasn't nowhere else.
That's right. It wasn't nowhere else. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to pay attention and everything. I said, okay, what was the Kenyan flag? First of all, the Kenyan flag has the Moorish colors. You look at the Moorish flag, I'm going to connect it to Chadwick as well. It all goes back to Kobe and Chadwick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you something real quick. As it goes back to Barack Obama. Here you have the Kenyan flag, got the Moorish flag. They even showed Obama walking right here. If y'all can see that picture, they're going to show Obama walking. Okay, y'all can see it. Okay. There was a dude that came out by the name of Prince Michael. Have y'all heard about this guy?
Prince Michael.
Yes. Yes. Okay. A lot of people call him a fake, but yeah.
Okay. He is an agent. Because I got a group of Black women that I know from my channel that said that he was supposed to give some type of tour of that region where Black Panther was shot. It was supposed to be the Kenyan mountains, that area of the catacombs. He was supposed to give a tour of that. And he collected $500 from all of these groups of African Americans that wanted to go over there. And he just disappeared with the money. Disappeared with the money. Just like the same thing young Pharaoh did with the Sandra Bland GoFundMe page. You know, nobody bring it up. This is how they implement the agents in our society. But we got to look at the dynamic of Kenya to this whole entire picture and why they had this guy with the Kenyan flag on. Remember the Chadwick Boseman movie, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Did y'all get to see that movie?
I watched some of it.
You gotta watch that movie. You pull that up. Okay, in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, you're gonna see Chadwick Boseman playing a character named Levi, which is short for the Levites in the Bible. But he has one is his clone because it don't even look like him.
Mm-hmm.
Try to say he was sick around this time, but it's his clone. 2, he's gonna curse God in the movie. He's gonna say, God is my enemy. Which now that's true. I'm talking about the God of the Bible. If we understand metaphysics, we understand that the God of the Bible created the physical body, but he did not create the soul. Nothing in the Bible says God created the soul. Only say he created man.
Right.
But we can fact check and let people know. But in the movie, he plays a trumpet. Who plays a trumpet in the Bible? Or who blows the horn in the Bible?
One of the apocalyptic angels, wouldn't it?
Gabriel.
Yeah, sure was.
So this is okay. So he's playing Gabriel in the movie. He's the star of Black Panther. Then you have Prince Michael come out and say that the Black Panther franchise is in a lawsuit with Disney. Prince Michael is the ambassador of Kenya. Kenya is the place that the Black Panther whole franchise got the ideal to make the movie off. This guy right here. This is you see he got the cross on right here. Anytime you see somebody with this cross on, we talking about Jesuit things.
That's right. That's right.
You gotta understand that. You goddamn supposed to be a Kenyan, you wearing a cross. They say I think they say he's from Georgia. Somebody say he's from Georgia.
Yeah.
I told y'all about the word George too. But he's Prince Michael. He's talking on the behalf of Black Panther and Disney working out some lawsuit. The Black Panther soundtrack was done by Kendrick Lamar, who's best friends with Prince Michael, not this Prince Michael, but Michael Jackson's son, Prince Michael.
Okay.
So the tie together, they're using Kenya as basically as a lightning rod to use as their advantage as a weapon. And this is Michael Jackson's son, Prince Michael, right here. You see, all you gotta do is type Prince Michael in, and all of that pops up. Just type Prince Michael in. There's a correlation to this Prince Michael here and the Prince Michael who's best friends with Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick Lamar did the soundtrack of Black Panther. What I'm trying to tell you is this flag is one representative of Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the guy or the president, the Black president, supposedly, that did nothing for Black people. So what happens in the end to Lavelle, Prince Lavelle? You see his name is Prince Lavelle? Prince Michael, Prince Lavelle. He isn't given the throne. He becomes the ambassador. Got it?
Yep.
Okay, this guy name is Ambassador Prince Michael.
Sure is.
Now, hold on, let me type it in. There you go, Ambassador Prince Michael. Let's see what pops up. There you go. He's the Ambassador Prince Michael. That's his name. His Facebook is called Ambassador Prince Michael. And what Eddie Murphy says at the end of the movie is, what is to happen of your son? He says he can be the ambassador of the movie. Okay, so we got that. To wrap it up, the movie is going to show his daughter Mika And she's going to have this thing on her arm. Do you see that?
Democracy.
Yeah.
It's spelled crazy.
Right.
But yes, democracy is a Z. If you really look at it.
Yeah.
The Z.
Yeah.
If you type crazy in Gematria, get the 47 again, which means it's a Masonic ritual. And to implement the changing of the kingdom of Zamunda now, you're going to have women running the Black nation, which means that the white man wants to give the authority of Black society to Black women. Now, one may ask, what is wrong with that? Black women already take care of Black people, correct? This will mean to the rest of the world that the Black man isn't fit to lead, because name another civilization on the planet currently where a group's women are put ahead as rulership of the society over the man. There is none. Is that, see, people get into patriarchy. We didn't have a patriarch society or a matriarch society to begin with. We had a patrilineal society and a matrilineal society. So you got to study to understand it. We didn't have that archy in it until the late kingdoms of Kemet, which were the first Masons.
Right.
The late kingdoms of Kemet, the last after the 13th dynasty of Akhenaten. After Akhenaten, that's when Masonry comes in. That's when all the homosexual, all that type stuff starts to come in, because the Ptolemy Greeks invaded and took over Egypt for a couple of hundred years. And they put all that, homosexual and all that stuff over there when they sat on the throne for about 500 years, I believe. No, 300 years. I think about 300 years. So understand, just to wrap this up, that for them to make it pertaining to Black women taking over the Black society, who was in flesh the longest? Black women. There's only a few remnants left on the planet that understands the dynamic of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Just like the scissors, there's two snakes. Just like on the back of your back, there's two energies, electrical energy and magnetic energy. We was a balanced people. We are a balanced people based on the foundation of the divine feminine, which is talking about the nothingness, which is talking about the darkness that creates everything that comes forth. Okay, that's all I wanted to say on that. And I'll explain the scissors a little bit more later. But do y'all have anything else to add on the movie?
No, I just know seeing the everything that's set up here is just going right back to Kamala. Just the whispers and the energy that I hear is going right back to Kamala, even though she is really of, East Indian origins based on her maternal DNA, but she's posing as a Black woman.
She's melanated.
You look at, yeah, but they want it to seem like she is a sister, not someone whose mother is East Indian, and they're Hindu. Hinduism is the main practice, and so they've been trying to depict her in this manner, but it's usury. It's usury of the image of the Black man and Black woman to push their agendas. And so that's the issue, you know, that I see with a lot of this, is just using our image to push agendas that really have nothing to do with us. You know, agendas that's not to benefit us. So again, it's just like, what's the word? Exploitation of the images and the archetypes of the Black man and the Black woman. So yeah, just saying this, I see the chess move that they're making. You know, I'm gonna let you keep going. We're gonna see what happens, because of a lot of what you're saying. I've been feeling this, and I'm just saying the chess moves, and I almost feel like Obama is really making some of the calls as the president. Biden, like if he could be in Biden's earpiece, like Obama said, you know, it makes me wonder about the mask that they're using, of who is really sitting in these certain positions, taking orders and pressing these agendas, you know. So I know Kamala had been handling most of the phone calls and the meetings, and she talked about, you know, they were talking about, there's a video footage actually of Biden completely checked out. Hidden video footage is hard to find, but you can find it if you use browsers other than the ones that where you don't have freedom of speech like you used to. But he's sitting there and he's completely checked out. And so his wife is sitting there with him, and just the look on her face is just really horrible. But you know, when you start losing your loved one to Alzheimer's, and this is when they stop remembering who you are, your name, things like that, you know, the video footage, somebody leaked it and it wasn't supposed to. And so it just makes me remember that, you know, nothing is what it seems. Nothing is what it seems.
Right. That's exactly what it was. I'm trying to find, there's a picture of Obama as Kai Bella. Here it goes right here. If you can, y'all see that. I tried to zoom in on it a little bit, but y'all see it says Kai Bella, and it shows Obama wearing the mask of Kai Bella. Yeah. It was a Phrygian deification of the Minoan Rhea, which is Saturn's wife. Her most ecstatic followers were males who ritually castrated themselves. So the Black man is being ritually castrated, having their penis or their masculinity cut off from them.
What show was
and that's also transhumanism. You were saying something, Ernest?
No, I just said I seen it in another show. It might have been on Netflix. I can't remember the name of the show, but yeah, this particular group was mostly all women. They wore black. The imagery of them, it wasn't that they were melanated, but of course, you know, the subliminals tell you it was melanated. But in order for any man to be a part of their group, he had to go through a ritual of being castrated, and they actually showed that. I don't know if that was Van Helsing. That might have been Van Helsing, if I'm not mistaken, their series. Yeah. When you said that, yeah.
Well, that's even more proof. And Obama is basically just what they're using as an image. The target is Black people in general. It's Black people. Because slavery in itself was a ritual. Rape was humiliation. The lynching they did represented blood sacrifice. The new names that attached from the slave masters, or, you know, was detachment from your ancestral roots. The torturing was a psychic attack. The biblical brainwashing was a loss of spiritual power. And altogether, it bred dysfunction that becomes epigenetics in us. And what they did, they took our power and put it into a copulating way where it doesn't prove suffice for us. It's still there, but it's just not suffice for what we're going to do. So we have to redirect how we use that power, whereas they're using our power as a weapon against ourselves. Our sexuality was a power. Now look at it now, hypersexualization. You know, our masculinity, having masculine men was a power. Now what are they doing? They're saying toxic masculinity. You see what I'm saying? So they're using this as weapons. And one more thing about the movie, you know, they said that the Queen of Zamunda died. Notice she was born in 1938. And she's from Jamaica. And they said they went to Queens, New York, find Prince Akeem's wife. There is a Jamaican Queens in Queens, New York, and she died at 57 years old. The numbers 57, 55, and 51 are the main cipher numbers of 2021. 51, 55, and 57. Pay attention to those numbers. They got a couple of other numbers that they use. We can go over that too, but the numbers are the language of the light. And we got to be able to decode those archetypes when they use it. So this further was going on. I would like to talk about a soul chip they're doing right now. Go look at the latest American Gods, because they're gonna put Techno Boy on the table, and they're gonna put this little technological mask on his face that's gonna put him into a prison, and he's in prison with his subconscious, which is the goddess Ilquis in the show, which shows the subconscious of all of humanity is the Black woman, which is still talking about the darkness. They're just using Black women. You got to understand archetypes, because we get into the connotative shit. What is a connotation? A connotation is an attachment to an emotional feeling. Black is a connotation. We're not Black. Right. You see what I'm saying? It's a connotation. So we get emotional. We have an emotional feeling of the word Black. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with the word Black. I'm just saying when we're occultists and we're metaphysicians, we have to be able to go further than the masses of how they look at things. That's the purpose of the science. If you can't go past the emotion and the feelings, then you're in the wrong field of work. You're pretty much in the wrong field. Well, our job is just like the job of those scientists that go into the shit to figure out what type of viruses and stuff is. That's the same stuff we do. Somebody got to do the job. So let me read you something. They don't got something. So another way of cloning, they got something called the soul chip. It's called an encephalogram chip. They're showing it in American Gods because this white boy here is called Techno Boy. He's an American God. In the show, you have new gods, which is technology, going against the old god. Got that. The soul chip is called the soul catcher memory chip. That sounds like something from slavery.
Thank you, Enigma, for that donation. Yeah.
Ashe. The chip will be implanted behind a person's eye. I remember all of the pictures I showed of the eyes, with the black mark around their eyes. Have y'all ever seen those pictures of the Hollywood people?
That's that whole ritual.
Okay.
Yeah.
The chip is implanted behind a person's eye and record all the thoughts and experiences of their lifetime. Now, to see this chip, get the movie LX 2048.
Yeah. Yeah. We did.
Here's the chip right here. They just showed you.
Yeah.
Do it right there. I don't even gotta go nowhere. There's the chip. Okay. All right. Now in the movie, white people can't go outside. They gotta wear this type of thermodynamic type suit. Because the sun has risen to a vibratory level in 2048, which ain't too far from now. You know, why do they got underground bunkers? Why does the Crown bloodline families have underground cities? Because it's going to come a point of time where the sun is going to reject the genetics of the mutants. That's facts. Radiation. There's radiation wars right now. So the chip is supposed to be implanted behind a person's eye and will record all the thoughts and experiences of their lifetime. The ideal that we migrate minds from brains into silicon has been around for a while and is usually referred to as uploading. This might be achieved destructively by visiting each neuron in turn, determining its particular characteristics and interconnections, and then replacing it with an equivalent microscopic computer-based nanotechnology, or perhaps preferable from the patient's point of view, by non-destructively scanning the structure of the living brain and reproducing it elsewhere in silicon, like a copying of a complex drawing using a pantograph. The amount of data involved would be immense. So they're saying that the soul has an immense complication of data and hardware. How do you replicate a soul? He says you have to follow something called Moore's law. Ain't that something? M-O-O-R-E law. First expressed. Now you got to look up this company named Intel, because the white boy sent me what Intel's connected to the whole QAnon thing. Who owned Bell South? Remember, Bell South was the first form of communication in the country.
Yeah.
The Sumerian god Bel is the Lord of Air. Air is what they're attacking in the coronavirus. They're attacking everything with the air. Lucifer is called the Prince of Air in the Bible. Okay. So the company is called Intel, I-N-T-E-L, and it states that the density of chips doubles every year. You heard that? That means more data has to be uploaded into the chips. Although the doubling period is now more like 18 months, we are seeing an explosive growth of chip power. If the trend continues into the next century, we might expect by 2025 to store 10 million megabytes, 10 terabytes, 1013 bytes on one single chip. If so, we might hope to record information about a brain's physical structure and a few more things in these chips. But talk about uploading thoughts and memories is quite another matter. When we talk about brains and minds, we must confront the classical mind-body problem. We know that our brain is a collection of biological structures of unimaginable complexity. Outwardly, this unimaginable complexity is called brain stuff and is described by computing pioneer Alan Turing. Now, who is Alan Turing? If we're talking about how are they doing this cloning, how are they manipulating artificial intelligence at this point of time in 2021 going further, You got to know who the father of artificial intelligence is Alan Turing. Alan Turing is where you get the Apple sign from, because he was a gay man who was one of the three fathers of artificial intelligence, and he created the Turing law when it comes in computer relationship to science. It's called the Turing law. He was assassinated by biting into a poison apple. So you see the apple is rainbow. Well, he was a gay man. So now you know where these symbols, everything is a cult. It was called a cyanide apple. This is the father of artificial intelligence.
The old IBM.
IBM.
Yeah, wasn't that the icon of IBM at first?
Was it IBM?
Yeah.
Could have been. Could have been. So all of this is based on Alan Turing. And I just wanted to read that to you and hear your thoughts on the agenda moving forward with this.
Man, it's crazy. Yo.
So with the manipulation that they're doing on this level, I can't help but to go back to the chakras you mentioned you were speaking of, and then looking at the griffin consuming the sun. You know, you can look at that a lot of ways, but when you think about the sun is like the supreme being, the giver of life on this planet. And to me, they are basically trying to change the flow of subtle cosmic energy as well. So just looking at the sun, you know, when you go into some of the teachings, the supreme being of Maha Bindu of the solar system, the god of the solar system, well, when you're looking at that, and the nadis and these different sound vibrational movements throughout these currents that flow throughout the body. But one thing that kept sticking out to me, how they were like the bastard son, it kept pointing to that. So this, you know, this just lets me know that this is a very ancient war that's going to a new level. And so when you go into some of the flow of subtle cosmic energy, the top Vic rays, it bombards the Earth's 360 degrees, which creates the realms of existence. And the top Vic rays are deposited into each major chakra along the spinal column unequally, allowing mankind to tap into these realms of existence through the various chakra levels of consciousness. The Earth receives and modifies 118 top Vic rays that enters the base and the sex chakras. The sun, and throughout coming to America, it was centered around a lot of sexual stuff. It was actually a very sexual movie, to be honest with you. From the rape of the Black man, and that being the way that this son who was to take the throne was brought into creation. But to digress from that, back to the top Vic rays about the subtle cosmic energy. So the sun radiates 106 top Vic rays, and that permeates the atmosphere, and it enters the solar plexus chakra and the heart chakra. The moon reflects 136 top Vic rays and creates the mental realms by pushing these rays through the throat and the Christ chakra, which is why they had her dressed in the purple when she was raping him. So this is the flow of subtle cosmic energy, a very ancient tantric teaching. And I saw so much of that in the movie, just to go a little bit deeper metaphysically as to why they were doing that. And another thing, the Christ chakra or the crown chakra, it has 64 of these top big rays. So this creates the consciousness, this creates the realms of existence, the reality. And they are attempting to subdue the new reality that we are creating, that is shifting. And again, it just goes back to, they want to own the real estate, to the cosmos and these different energies. And they want to make a synthetic version of that. So yeah, that's why so much of this was based on that, and based on a son being born that was the product of rape. You know, that's traumatic within itself to think about that. So on so many levels, this was like some real alchemical fuckery. And it was really annoying. So I think about the solar plexus. And so for Black men, melanated men right now, it's going to be very important for you to be working on your solar plexus, working on your confidence, and knowing who you are, not believing, but really knowing who you are, that you are a master, and that no matter what is going on and how much you are at the bottom, so to speak, they try to make you seem inferior, just reminding yourself of that and building up on this energy. But another trippy part, and this connects back to Gematria as well, but the solar plexus chakra has 52 top big rays. And that number 52 been coming up a whole lot throughout this whole last year of a lot of the events that have been taking place. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
That's yeah, 52 too. 52 is one of the cycled numbers. That's another thing there. We have to understand this as well. Celebrities are paying for death instruction to learn how to escape death. They're hiring a lot of people because there's something that they're doing through the science of what you're talking about, the keeping Black people in the solar plexus. They don't want the DNA to rise right now. They want to keep the 22 amino acids at a certain vibratory rate per month. Remember I told you all of the data from the base of the spine, the coccyx, it downloads through the chakras throughout the month. That's why it's important to pay attention to the moons. We keep paying attention to the sun. This is when the divine feminine comes back into play. It has nothing to do with physical bodies. It has everything to do with celestial bodies. And that's what's occurring with inside of our true body, which is the ethereal body. The body of ether. The astral body serves as a tool for us to make contact with the ethereal body. There's something called the etamasia that we're going to have to observe a little bit more closer. The etamasia is called the empty throne. Empty throne of Christ. It's also in the Sumerian text right here. What is the etamasia? The melanin in itself is the throne. It's empty because it's waiting for the higher self to sit on the throne and activate where is the destination. This is piloting the light ship. Each of us have a light ship. And if you don't know how to pilot, if I gave you a spaceship today, would you be able to pilot it? Everybody is all into sci-fi, all of that type stuff. Do you know how to pilot the ship? Well, the chakras is the control system of the ship. How do you work the chakras? You got to go into the science, into the tantric thing. Because if our souls was dislodged from each other, the sex is a reminder. Every time we have sex is a reminder to us that we were one androgynous being. That's why I knew the stuff was coming to America was a ritual, because if we're one androgynous being, why couldn't we just share the throne?
Right.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with him saying that my son and my daughter is going to share the throne? What would be wrong with that? But you got to look at how the white man comes in, and he's feeding several egregores and cabals energy. How does he feed the energy? He's playing on what's in the sacral, the sacral in the root chakra, which is desire and formation of those desires. The desire, anything you desire starts at the base. That's the realm of Atsula or Asaya in the Kabbalah. The realm, foundation realm of how formality happens is desire. You can't care for anything until you desire it. What is the desire? He's going to create these things called egregores. How we combat that is what Bobby said is called chaos magic. Okay. Not all over the place, am I? So I could
No, this good. This deep. Yeah.
Okay. You know how Bobby was like, am I boring you?
Yeah. Y'all all right?
I'm like, nigga, what if you was born? What you gonna do? Stop it?
No, good.
Yeah, you gonna do? But okay.
Everybody in here with us, they good too.
Yeah.
Okay. Chaos magic. I bet you never looked this up before. Chaos magic is a contemporary magical practice. Now, they say it was developed by Austin Osman Spare. That's some bullshit. Even Austin Spare told your ass he didn't create that shit. This is just white people in their system. Right. In a white supremacist system, the only law in America is that I'm white and what I say is the law.
Right. Right.
There ain't no laws. They change the laws as they say stuff.
Yeah.
Since I'm white, you got to believe me. That's their law. I'm talking about in their heads.
Yeah.
Just because I'm white, that's got to be the truth because I'm white and you ain't white. That's what we dealing with. Okay. Sometimes, okay, so listen to this. This is what Black people got to get into. Sometimes chaos magic is referred to as success magic or results-based magic. Chaos magic claims to emphasize the attainment of specific results over symbolic, ritualistic, theological, or otherwise ornamental aspects of other occult traditions. Chaos magic has been described as a union of traditional occult techniques and applied postmodernism. Okay, that's not what I want. I want to go down a little bit. I want to go down. Okay. Chaos magic differs from other occult traditions such as Thelema, Wicca, in that it rejects the existence of absolute truth and views all occult systems as an arbitrary symbol system that are only effective because of the belief of the practitioner. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because it popped up, said my internet went off for a second. I think they messing with my computer or something.
It's been doing it the whole time.
Yep, we've been having to refresh it.
Keep refreshing it, yep.
Going too heavy.
You already know what it is.
Okay, chaos magic thus takes a explicitly agnostic just means they don't believe in God, but that's not what it is. Listen, position on whether or not magic exists as a supernatural force, with many chaos magicians expressing their acceptance of a psychological model as one possible explanation, It is unknown when the term chaos magic first emerged, with the earliest texts on the subject referring only to magic or magical art in general. Furthermore, it is claimed to state principles universal to magic, as opposed to a new specific style or tradition. Okay, let me just explain this, because I'm reading this. I know Black people got a low attention span. Okay. Chaos magic. I already know. Chaos magic is melanin. Okay, you got that. This star you see is the goddamn ship. This is the Etamacia. This is the throne. You will see the same star. Go look at Star Wars. What is the Jedi symbol? The same damn, let me look that up real quick. What is the Jedi symbol? Hold on. They won't let me. What is the Jedi symbol? Because the Jedi is the jet pillar, and the jet pillar is the people who have the kundalini energy that rises up the spine. Fully. White people have it too, but they don't fully have it. This is the Chaos Star. The Jedi symbol is based on the Chaos Star, as you can see here. What they're saying in this post is that Peter Carroll wrote the book Liber Null and the Psychonaut. That book, 1978. He says it is described, chaos is the thing responsible for the origin, melanin, and continued action of events. Carroll goes on to say that it could as well be called God or Tao, which means balance, but the name chaos is virtually meaningless and free from anthropomorphic ideals of religion. Then it goes on to say that this word belief, they define belief as something different. It says that belief is arguably meta-belief. Belief is a tool for achieving effects. In chaos magic, a complex system like Kabbalah, the Enochian system, astrology, or the I Ching, they ain't gonna put Gematria in here because they don't want to give nobody no ideals.
Right.
Are treated as maps of symbolic and linguistic constructs that can be manipulated to achieve certain ends, but that it has no absolute or objective truth value in itself. It means a rejection of all fixed models of reality. Nothing is true, all is permitted. That's all Bobby used to say. He even calls it psychic energy. Yeah, Bobby said he calls it, okay, so all right, let me simplify everything. Let me simplify it all.
Got Alice the Crowley.
If they try to keep us in the sacral chakra, we have the ability. It's called a probability hex. They put it in WandaVision. Wish we can get into that, but I know we pressed for time.
Okay.
The Etamacia, the empty throne, needs the higher self to sit on the throne, which means it needs, if there was a horse, who steers the horse? It's the person, the rider. The rider can steer the horse. You got that? Okay. Melanin is the horse. Your higher self is the rider. Right now, nobody's riding melanin. They can't get on. Look, they can't get on. The melanin doesn't respond to them getting on it. It's not for them to ride.
Yeah.
So what they can do is just spook it and have it run in all types of directions so we can't hop on it. That's what's going on right now. They're spooking it.
Yeah.
Trying to just
That's their form of chaos magic. If we can't get it, nobody can get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Damn.
So in the Bible, they talk about a group of angels. You said what, Ernest?
No, I just said they keep dropping it in and out. Keep going, you good.
Oh, it's dropping again?
Yeah.
They come back on when you refresh it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can y'all hear me? Is it choppy?
No, it wasn't you. It's YouTube. You good.
Oh man, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the cherubims in the Bible were said to be a group of angels that have 4 heads, and they were the thrones of heaven. Yeah, it's doing it again for me too. I see what y'all mean.
Mm-hmm.
It did it again. So yeah, so these group of angels, the Archons, don't have a ship. The Caucasians don't have a ship. I'm not talking specifically them. There's something behind them called the Archons. They don't have a ship. What is a ship? A ship, when you're talking UFOs, unidentified aerial phenomenons, they don't have something that's going to ride them into the next time continuum. Past human existence, what is the next avatar body? We ain't going to be humans forever.
Mm-hmm.
There's other life forms out there, and our consciousness will fill another vessel. This is the thought frame our kids should be in, beyond human stuff, because we aren't human. We are cherubims. We are the highest order of angels, light, filling human bodies temporarily to go through this alchemical cooking of spiritual elements so we can move into the next avatar body. That's why they're coming out with the movie Avatar. Mm-hmm. They're trying to ride our DNA into the next time continuum. That's why you're seeing a rise in interracial marriage. Or you're seeing Kamala Harris in the White House, or her dude, who is a Silicon Valley lawyer. Go figure.
Yeah.
So in all, chaos magic. You remember I talked about scissors. Mm-hmm. When you go watch WandaVision, which I can't get into right now, I'll do a full breakdown sometime this week when I get some time. You remember y'all saw the scissors mentioned over and I just showed you it in Coming to America. Got it in the movie Us. You ever seen the movie Us? Mm-hmm. And you see the scissors? Mm-hmm. There's something called consultations. If you type consultations in Gematria and put Bobby Hemmett in there, you get 53, 64, 134. It didn't let me put the other thing, but you get 192. 190 lines up too. All of it lines up. What is this? What is this? Mm-hmm. You remember when you mentioned the criminal thing earlier? It was drawing a sketch. Yeah. Back in Europe, when they was deep into dark arts, the Moors would use this thing called shears, which is a scissor. And they will put it around something called a sieve, which is that little sifting instrument that you use when you cook the noodles. Niggas know about noodles. You know that? Yeah, that, whatever that is. You drain the water out. Mm-hmm. They will put the scissors over the sieve. And if they will have 2 people put their hand on the scissor, and if the seeds moves, they would say that a demonic force behind the casting of the Akasanomancy, they would say a word. I got the list of words they would say. Based on the gematria of the letters they chose for these magical words, a daemon, which is an entity of melanin, which is an entity of genius, which is something that is beyond this realm of existence, would come into the room and they would move seed, and this is how they determine who was a criminal or who was committing infidelity, cheating, or whatnot. Do you see on this book above, they got the scissors on it again? You see that book right there?
Yeah.
In WandaVision, y'all see that?
Yep.
Yep.
The book is called The Book of the Damned. And they say Wanda, Agnes says that Wanda, now who is Wanda? Wanda is a black woman. That's a black woman name, Wanda. This is straight out. Okay. And they got the black woman in the show screaming Wanda name, Wanda, and Wanda just flying away, ignoring her ass. This is hilarious. But you see inside of the book, they show that's a black woman. Those tentacles means dreads. But they show the Kabbalah behind her body. And Agnes says that Wanda, your name is written in the book of the damned, in the text of the dark hole. She calls it the dark hole text. This book, the book of the damned, is melanin. I just want you to understand that. Because the word damn becomes Adam. The Adamic angels are the light of the universe that filled vessels. You can get that in the book by Pierre Sabec, Murder Reality or something like that. But it's by Pierre Sabec. Get that book. He's going to talk about the Adamic. Whenever you hear the word damn, it just means a frequency of light that had to fill a vessel for it to go through evolvability. It's called evolvability. Okay. Bobby Hemmett was the shears or the scissors that severed us from the cabal of the crown bloodline. He gave us something where we can look at this dimension completely different than any other teacher ever gave us. So he was practicing Hasanomancy. That's why the gematria between him and his name lines up. Now, this picture at the bottom shows Wanda in the comic book reading out of the book of the damned. Remember in the Bible, they said that those who aren't going to make it to heaven won't be written in the book of life. The book of life is melanin. That means if you don't got no melanin, your name ain't written in the book. So we good. All our names written in the book. We good. Just because you got the melanin. But look, they're going to show this same entity on the back of the book in the movie In the Mouth of Madness, which you watch the movie In the Mouth of Madness. It's about a guy named Sutter Kane who's reading from a book. Here's the melanin once again. Here's the melanin once again. And they make it a monster because if you look at the god Harpocrots, and Bes in the Egyptian pantheon. Lord, I don't know what they done. They don't put a bed up there. I'll put bed, okay. Bes. Bes is the god of the fairies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're going to show you this god right here, which is supposed to be Horus. And he holds scorpions in his hands. And he steps on a crocodile. And it means basically nothing can harm him because he doesn't fear the physical realm. So he's a baby. This is a child. And he's holding scorpions in his hands. The same story of Hercules. If you look at the story of Hercules, when he was born, they said he grabbed scorpions and crushed them with his hands. It means when you're a child, the spirits are here to protect you as a child. But when you become an adult, they are no longer your protectors, they become your servants. They become your servants. So if you don't know that the melanin is supposed to serve you instead of protect you as you move into adulthood, basically the melanin doesn't have, it's an empty throne. It doesn't have a master. So it just starts to be like a dog off his leash. It's just running around, fucking up shit. Y'all know how dogs is, just fucking up everything. Like, get your ass from out of there. You know how you be talk to the dogs one time.
It's the chaos, ain't it?
Right. Okay, so that head on top of his, you see this head up here, that's the monster. That's melanin. Y'all see where I'm circling that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the monster. That's the god Bes. That is the monster. That's the same monster right here. When God said, Satan, Jesus told Satan to get behind him. Why didn't he tell Satan to get the fuck out of here? He says, Satan, get behind me. That's the medulla oblongata. Jesus, or the Christ, is the pineal gland. Behind the pineal gland is the medulla oblongata. Inside of your gut, where the sacral chakra is, there is an elliptical light that moves up the chakras every month because the sun moves at a 30-degree angle, and you download your experiences and your understanding at the end of the month on the first full moon, which is the pituitary gland, right next to the pineal and the hypothalamus. So the back of the head is the monster, because if you died and you never downloaded that information properly into your pineal gland over the years you've been in the physical body, that elliptical light when you die that rises doesn't go into the pineal gland, or the land of light. It goes into the medulla oblongata, which is reincarnation, the monster. Remember they talk about Ami in the 42 laws of Ma'at? Same motherfucking monster right there. Same mythology.
Yeah.
That's where Satan is. So you want to make it into the land of light. And that's all I had on that.
That's interesting.
So we wrapped it up with death somehow.
Yeah. That's really interesting though. You talking about that, because if you remember him getting his Gucci cut off, that was a whole other ritual right there, where he was just like, this ain't me,
right?
And you got to cut it off. But if you look at the pyramids and consciousness, the pineal gland, the king's chamber, the queen's chamber within the pyramids, the lower world, and then we have the upper world, and we have the middle world. So this is a shift in consciousness. So at the back of the brain, right, right where that Gucci was, basically, is what he had cut off. And so that's like cutting off the consciousness into these higher levels of consciousness. That's cutting that off, cutting off that access to that. So I'm gonna post a picture. Maybe I can share this on the community tab. I'm gonna share this picture on the community tab that explains how the pyramids were a representation, just like the Eye of Horus, is a representation of the metaphysics of the brain, of the mind. And so by cutting that off, that was basically, detaching, because that is considered the doorway into consciousness in that area of your brain. And so that was like, they want to cut that off, that connection to that higher consciousness, to vibrate out of here. So yeah, I'm gonna post this picture on the community tab so everybody can see that. So basically, even with how they had the king position in the coffin, when you think about the formulation of the tetragrammaton, I'm going to read something really quickly. And this is why meditation right now is so important, especially doing it in darkness. And if you can, listen to a metronome and just going within, because a lot of what we are seeking is within anyway. And what's on the outside is just a projection of what's within, including the cosmos. So microcosm of the macrocosm, everything is everything. But the formula of tetragrammaton can also be seen in relation to the four corners of a pyramid, which may have been used as a dream incubator, since the corridors and the rooms of the Giza pyramid appear to correlate with parts of the brain. In ancient times, dreams were perceived as being the domain of spirits, wherein precognitive information can be accessed. Most precognitive experiences occur in dreams, which is especially the case concerning lucid dreams, along with the observation of synchronistic phenomena. It isn't too far-fetched of conjecture that the ancient Egyptians would invest a lot of time and effort into building a pyramid in order to enhance trance induction and dreaming capabilities, which of an experience is very much tied up with the religion or the spiritual practices. So there's a possibility that the ancient Egyptians, they would bind up a trance practitioner in mummy style, place them in a casket, coffin, just as the Inuit shamans would bind themselves, which facilitated their trance states. So this is just with them starting off with the king and this burial of the king. This is all representative of the king's chamber within the brain and the queen's chamber, and then wanting that space to be empty. So when you look at the jab and everything they're coming up with, even with the testing for that to break the brain blood barrier with the swab, there are nanoparticles within the testing that they're using. And so they're depositing this so that there can be a synthetic something in the place sitting on that throne within your consciousness and your access to higher consciousness and higher dimensions. Yeah, I'm gonna post this picture and it'll come even more. But yeah, getting that cut off, they made a big deal out of it, but kind of tried to make it sound like it wasn't a big deal. But it was a big deal. And even in the first one, having that Gucci, that is very metaphysical. That is very metaphysical.
Most definitely. They got all types of ways to try to explain how these auric fields and consciousness unravel itself, but it's up to us to utilize all of this information that we're putting out of here and expand. Everything is about expansion and contracting. That's the science of the black hole. That's the science of melanin, because literally, if we want to relate it back to the beginning of the video, death is about how light synthesizes itself through a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
The black hole, the light, the black hole, first of all, the sun proceeded, a star proceeded out of the black hole first. That's why we call the black hole is the black Ani, or the vagina, and she has a son prior to having just women on the earth when it was Andromeda, to the science of producing a sun or producing consciousness, which is light, which is the science of the tetragrammaton, is formation of light, unraveling of light and consciousness. Death and life lies in the science of light, and we are light beings. The black hole contracts and it expands. It's contracting and expanding. That's the same thing that the vagina does. It contracts and expands. So the science here is the same science in the cosmos, and we're playing characters and roles of this energy behind these fields. And these archetypes, just as she was explaining, are nothing but tools for them or us. Who's going to utilize them? It's like I said earlier, if nobody is on melanin, if it's just a wandering horse running through the fields, what are we trying to do in this dimension? Are we trying to prove that we can do the white man's system better than him? Is that what we're trying to prove? We can get some businesses and out business the white man.
Mm-hmm.
What is, you have to ask that question. What the fuck we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What is this? You know? Is it a competition of black and white people? Is it avoiding death? I mean, what the hell are we doing? And this is occultism. Occultism is asking the questions, and this is the saying: if man is the question, then God has to be the answer.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking towards, to ask the right questions in ourselves and from other people, and demand that God responds to us, which is these frequencies and this consciousness that we're talking about at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So did y'all want to move into another area?
That's great. I mean, we can go to another area, because I feel like this is, okay, it's exhaustive. It's something you really can never stop talking about, because it's infinite knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things then.
Go for like a few more minutes.
Okay.
We have the timer set until what, 8:30? What's
your time looking like, Ani?
I'm good. I'm good right now.
Okay.
I can roll.
Roll for a few more minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll go a little bit longer. The white boy has come out. They got another book called The Art and Practice of Contacting the Demiurge. So now what they're trying to do, they have realized that there is a servitor force on the planet in which this evil energy serves them or is their god, which is called the demiurge or the Archons. And this is what the Bible contemplates as demons or the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Demons or the devil is the demiurge or Yaldabaoth. And what this energy wants to do, as you can see, is a dragon wrapping around the tree and biting at its roots in the picture. We the motherfucking trees. You can even see how our hair unpacks. We're a goddamn tree. The tree of life and the tree of death. We the dragon too. Understand that? But with the dragon or the serpent lays a realm. See, the dragon in itself ain't just a dragon. It's a makeup of different qualities, different shapes on his body, of spiritual aptitude to what it is, its thought process, its nature. Everything is a compatibility of different aspects that make up a being. What is a being in itself? We're talking zeros and ones. Zero means non-being. A one is a being. The black woman is the zero. The black man is the one. She produced the one. That's why they were trying to show you that in the Matrix when they showed you zeros and ones, which is just vaginas and penises. Black man, black woman is the only thing. But the aspect is breaking up our sexual chemistry is another way for them to attack the realm. If we are heading towards a different dimension through death that surmounts how this plane of existence or dimension is going at this point. In WandaVision, Agnes told Wanda that her purpose was to destroy this world. And this is what Black people, this is the fork in the road that they don't understand. We was put here to destroy this motherfucker. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to put that out to you. I know some of y'all don't understand that. I want to hold on to your house and your cars and your damn sea moss, whatever the fuck you got. But the purpose of the melanin, the oldest god, is called Sut, which becomes Satan. Jesus said that in Revelation, he coming back with fiery eyes and a sword. He gonna destroy the motherfucking world. Go read your Bible again. That would mean that Satan and damn Jesus the same motherfucker.
That's right. That's right.
So that means we don't got no enemies. We are our own enemy. We are our own savior and we are our own enemy. The white boy is like a spoiled child yelling like, what about me? What about me? He wants to become, he's trying to get a role in our story right now. He wants our attention so we don't have an intention to what we're doing with this divine energy. So he's going to go in and he's going to call on the demiurge that you see in this book, The Art and Practice of Contacting the Demiurge. He's trying to contact the demiurge right now because what he's doing on us ain't really working. It may look like it's working, but if it was working, why is this man still racist? If you was okay, if you was the white tall people, what do you call them? The tall white people. If you was the tall whites, if you was a motherfucking alien, how you keep saying I'm an alien, I'm an alien, I'm a extraterrestrial being. Why the hell you so obsessed with Black people and doing stuff for them? If I was an alien, if I was a tall white or a reptilian, wherever the fuck they want to call Why would I care about another race of beings? I would be busy going towards other realms. I wouldn't give a damn about no other race. I would just say, y'all do y'all. I would leave everybody alone. I would just leave everybody alone, and I would be focusing on my extraterrestrial type shit. But it seems to me that they can't leave us alone. They're always making some type of movie. They always do. They always bringing out some black person that's cooning.
Yeah.
They're always doing something with genetics and cloning, and damn, you obsessed with this realm.
Yeah.
You put all your money into this goddamn. The white man put all his money into this realm.
Yeah.
All of your money, all of your resources is to make this realm more suitable for your living. That's all he does. So that proves to me there ain't nothing extraterrestrial about these people. Zero. And as much as they tell you, all the information they got on some motherfucking extraterrestrials, the only motherfucking extraterrestrial is goddamn black people. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else extraterrestrial. And if it is, we ultra terrestrial over that. We'll step further. We'll just move. We'll move the goalposts how they do when we try to go back and forth with their ass. All right, I got extra. Well, we ultra terrestrial. What you got now? Say something now. You see what I'm saying? So this is what's going on. Tethering consciousness. It's a debacle. The god of death is Osiris. This is a picture of Charon or Karen. They call them the Karen, or they call them either the Karen or the Charon. Just like the Karens, they be talking about the white women. Don't this look like a black dude? This is the entity that drives the boat of Styx, which is a black river in the underworld, and he guides the souls into the next life. His name is Charon. There's a book on the number 51 by Lord Dewsney. This is the guy that taught Lovecraft. Everybody want to talk about Lovecraft. Where Lovecraft got his science from? Lord Dewsney. 51 Tales. Why they keep using the number 51 this year? Area 51. Area 51. The book 51 Tales, and the first chapter is going to be about this entity, which also the moon Pluto, which is, it was called a planet years ago. They discovered is a moon, is a stone. Pluto also has a moon next to it called Charon. But the river of Styx is a black river of souls as melanin.
It's
going back
interesting.
to
yeah. I dreamed about the river Styx or Styx. It was something that I didn't remember. I had never heard of. But I just pulled it up. But in the dream that I had, this was many years ago, and I realized it was pointing to the significance of now. But in the dream, there was a meeting going on at the river Styx, and there were ancient spirits, and they were meeting there to discuss war strategies and how to win the battle with what seemed to be a common enemy. These spirit beings were about 12 to 20 feet tall, skinny. They looked like skeletons with robes on, and they had scepters in their hands. A small child appeared out of nowhere, and the skin of the child turned gray, and it was like a baby, and it began biting these tall ancient gods. And so in this dream, when it caught them by surprise. Whatever this entity was that manifested, it caught them by surprise. and it attacked them. And then what ended up happening was the ancient beings were trying to fight back with whatever this entity was. It manifested in the form of a child or a baby or a toddler. And so they were in battle, and I'm just standing there observing this. And so they began to say, we need to make some final decisions about the battle in the meeting. And another baby popped up, turned gray, and it bit one of them on the arm. And his scepter was used to heal it. And so, but these babies kept popping up in this meeting where they were trying to have this discussion of what they were going to do with humanity and with some of the souls that they had access to. And then I woke up from that, and that was just, it was, it's a dream I hadn't mentioned since then. But I had this dream in 2017, I think it was. I hadn't watched anything that would make me dream something, nothing. It was just purely divine shown to me. So this battle between these ancient gods, egregores, thought forms, whatever you want to call them, it appears to be spilling over. So when you were talking about the river Styx, it brought it back to my memory. I still don't fully understand what the baby symbolized that turned gray, but they were attacking these ancient beings.
Well, that's very interesting. It's probably some type of relationship that you saw in that dream to what's happening in this realm with the grays, the gray matter, representative of the DNA at this point in time.
True.
There's something going on, most definitely, because they say that the Titans drink from two rivers in the mythology.
Right.
One is called Menmosine, and the other is called Lee. Matter of fact, Spawn, the movie Spawn, his robe is called Lee. That robe that transforms and all types of shit is called Lee. So the river Lee is oblivion, and the river Mnemosine is memory. That's what we're struggling with right now. Memory and oblivion, and that's what the white boy, he fears that he's going to be. See, they say that in the end that we're going to throw their ass into the river of Lee, which is oblivion, which means they never existed. Oblivion is the lake of fire and sulfur in the Bible.
Makes sense.
You see, so they're fearful, so they have to keep pushing the bar with us for us to try to write them in our script of the next worlds as death. They used to be dead, scared of death until they read the Egyptian stuff. And they said, well, these black people wasn't scared of death. Oh, all they wrote about, the Egyptians was looking forward to dying.
Right.
You see how far that we don't, you see how reverse we don't came? The Egyptians, they couldn't wait to fucking die.
That's real.
You see?
That's real. I think one thing that was beneficial to see was the king, he laid down his life when he got ready. And I feel like that's something we mastered, where when it was time for us to transcend, it was like, okay, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Get everything together. You know what I'm saying? Get the chamber ready. That's it. I believe that there was a time where we dictated when we would have children, what souls was coming in, what planetary alignment we used to do that, and how we exited and when. So it was, it was a few things in there you could take from it, but that's important what you're saying, because as we're going through learning this knowledge and being upgraded, there's greater responsibility being placed on us as well. And so ignorance is bliss. It's definitely poisonous, but it's blissful. So as you come out of that, there will be greater responsibility as to what you do with your energy and give your attention to. And I know most people who probably watched Coming to America had no idea, but they were feeding, that whole film was committed to this Cybele, and they were feeding that energy to help them with the architecture of the new layout of the blueprint that they're doing. So it's a major chess game going on, and it's going on so strong all through Tennessee. They mentioned Tennessee, and it led right back to Thunderbirds as well when we did some research. But if you look at what I shared with you, I was like, damn, Tennessee keep coming up. Middle Tennessee keep coming up. Then we watched The Good Place. Tennessee came up in there. Tennessee Titans came up in there, and they were in a playoff game against the Jaguars. See, yeah. So that's why I told you got to check out. Y'all got to check out Good Place, because The Good Place, they hide it in comedy, but it's really dark as hell.
It's so heavy.
It's heavy. And you pay attention to it, you'll begin to be able to see these different moves that they're making. So from protecting the queen and the chess moves and all of that, you got, so that kept leading back to the Thunderbird in Tennessee. And right as I'm getting those connections, and me and you were texting each other, and I was just like, yo, some shit coming through. And you was like, yeah, I covered that and talked about this, that, and the other. So the cube kept leading me back to this Cybele. And a live stream popped up where somebody was seeing these cubes popping up all over Tennessee. Any webcam you pulled up of Tennessee, there were these cubes popping up all over. And like some of them even looked like buildings from another dimension that was bleeding through. So that's what led me to the Cybele when I reached out to you. Yeah, so it's deep. So Tennessee is definitely something very significant. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we are sitting on this river, the Mississippi River, which is the Nile River, you know, over here. The only two rivers in the world, if I'm not mistaken, you know, that flow the opposite way that a river, you know, usually flows. And so just think of how many ancestors, you know, were murdered and ended up in that river as well. So it's a lot of similarities. So Tennessee is definitely a place to be watching. They didn't name them Tennessee Titans for no reason. So as we watch this and just see the overthrow and think about some of the things that Bobby talked about with the Titans.
The Blue Raiders.
The Blue Raiders. That was another one, the Blue Raiders. They mentioned that in there. And I was just like, yo, this is crazy. But the architects it's almost like they damn near out of a job. You know, the old architects is like, look, it's a whole new system coming in, and we got to figure out a way to get a handle on it, to get a lock on it, so that we don't lose, you know, our free ride into the next dimension that we can't get into without EU melanin.
Right. And don't forget that the Tennessee bombing that happened on Christmas was a Mithras ritual. The A&T building was bombed in Tennessee.
Yep.
And Tennessee used to be a Moorish land in America called Tunisia. And Nas had a song on his album, 2 albums back, called Tunisia. Tennessee, it used to be called Tunisia.
Sure did. Yeah, it's a lot we're about to see play out for sure. Coming this spring and this summer. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot we're about to see. I'm gonna let you pick back up. That was pretty much it. I've shared a lot of the stuff that I mentioned, y'all. It's on the community tab of our channel, so you can go there. We're gonna make sure that everything we mentioned here, we put it there so you can see it. But you know, I mean, decoding symbolism and the energy currents under what we're seeing is really important to do. You know, and for them to recreate Coming to America in the first place was a really big deal. And what does that really mean? What is coming to America? You know, who just look at that title alone. What are they talking about? Is coming to America. What is happening? And so we decoded everything that you was talking about with the AT&T building based on a cartoon. called the Nut Job 2. So if y'all go back and check that out, that decoding was so deep. Before the explosion happened, I was already getting remote viewings of this explosion occurring. And so when it happened, it really tripped us out that the Nut Job 2, that cartoon, depicted everything in specific detail. So that's on the channel, and check that out, because those cubes that's been showing up on the live webcam is right around that AT&T building.
Oh, and they got like these theaters around that building. These theaters, they have some type of a cult title referencing light. Those theaters and arenas around there, so that makes sense. They're doing something. They got a lot of stuff. What they're doing with each state, they're rebuilding the tree of life through the Kabbalah.
Exactly.
So we got to figure out.
Exactly.
Tennessee may be sacral chakra. I know Florida is Malkuth, and Atlanta is Kether. I know that for sure. And Houston, that area is your soul.
Yeah.
It's your soul.
Yeah.
So yeah, they doing some stuff with that. Probably the tree of death too. We're gonna have to look into all of those. Yeah, I got those names. You know, they kind of difficult to pronounce, but
cool. Yeah,
we own it.
Cool.
We own it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had a lot of interruptions with this stream. We appreciate y'all for hanging in there with us.
Yeah.
You know, follow us on Instagram too. We had to start a new one. It's Remnants Gathering WGG. Ani, yours is Spiritual Shade Room on Instagram. You know, we need to continue to collaborate like this, because that's the only way we're gonna get out of the frequency we've been trapped in, is collaboration. And so yeah. We're done over here, Ani. Did you have anything last you wanted to share or say?
If you're looking for vaccination exemption forms, you can email me at startribe777@gmail.com. Also, psychedelics. We didn't get to talk about that aspect of that, but we gonna have a lot more time to talk about it. Psychedelics. Anything referencing to the sacred plants, we have that as well. We offer that in plentiful abundance of that as well at startribe777@gmail.com. And consultations. A lot of people want to understand the science, especially on just the level of looking at colors of chakras and all that. What's the real nitty-gritty science of moving that elliptical light from the coccyx up through this inner pilgrimage inside of yourself? I offer consultations, been doing it 9 years. I just had a woman tell me the other day, she was like, "You really know what you're talking about, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about." And we can move at your pace, give you a Vedic reading. We give you Vedic readings, and we can get you up to speed with your melanin.
Everybody,
do what you do.
Yeah, everybody's saying the same thing. As soon as you said something about the exemption, bro, it cut out. It's crazy. It's funny though. It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's a wrap then.
Right. Yeah, we don't even get on the jabs too much. I think we drove that in the ground. If you don't know by now that this is not here to benefit you, you know, you got to do your own research, come to your own conclusions. We're just here to present information to you and not to tell you what to think or believe. These are our perspectives, and as we are learning, evolving, and growing, our perspectives are going to shift, and we're going to build as we go. So, you know, it's just we're in this time now where AI is in the air, basically, and conversations that is going to help people. You know, you're going to have those interferences happen, but we're going to keep pushing on and doing what we're doing.
Right.
But thank you, Ani. You know, we appreciate you. We definitely got to do this again.
Appreciate y'all.
And anytime you want to come on your channel, we can do the same thing there. You know, absolutely.
We can do that ASAP.
We got to do that, because we're going to be getting on some more relationship stuff and the alchemy of that, because that's such a big deal, and that's one of the biggest challenges that me and Ernest have faced in this awakening is with our relationship. And so a lot of the stuff that we're talking about happening, we be experiencing it firsthand, that war between us. It's crazy. It's almost like they hit us with a frequency or something through the Gwen towers and cell towers, and we just be at each other. And it's just like, what the, you know that it's something spiritual happening. So yeah, the separation of the man and the woman, we got to heal that. Especially
with us.
Yeah. So we're going to be getting on it. Yeah. And it's definitely going to be information people ain't going to want to hear. Yeah. Because we're going to be putting a lot of people in a perspective where you got to check yourself about. So like he was saying, men are important, and just walking around saying, I don't need no man. And, that energy is not beneficial where we're going. Right. So yeah, we're going to be touching on that. We got a webinar coming up next week. We're breaking down some of the programming of religion and how it impacted you as a person today, and how that's preventing you from reaching your highest potential. And so you got to deprogram that stuff, and you got to go back into some of them scriptures maybe that you had read over you as a baby, or maybe you were forced to get baptized or coerced into, whatever it was. You got to go back into it and decode it so that you can begin uprooting that program and rewrite the script. So the next webinar that we're doing that's what it's going to be about. So it's going to help for those of us who are conscious parenting, becoming parents, and reparenting yourself. So again, to know thyself is the true power, so that's what we're going to be doing the next webinar. And you can find that at remnantsgathering.com on the website and get your tickets to that. It's definitely going to be, we're going to be teaching you how to recapitulate based on shamanic practices when these memories and these experiences come up that you see that you haven't fully healed. So it's a lot. We're doing a free meditation with that. It's a lot you're going to get with that. It's not just us talking. And so we'll also be able to interact with you guys if you got questions and things like that. Yeah. Well,
I'll also I will be at Dr. Eileen Bay's Juice and More vegan, I believe it's a restaurant in Henderson, North Carolina on March 20th for a live lecture. I must try to stream. If not stream, I'm going to have it recorded. And then the next week, after the 20th, the following Saturday, I'll be back in South Carolina at the Sphinx Hall doing another live lecture here at home base. So you can inquire about that. Just follow me on YouTube at Ani Osaru. I'll be posting the flyer or whatnot and all of that information.
Okay. Absolutely. All right, y'all. So we're going to slide out of here. The last time we got together, we had wrote a little hook for you, but you got to learn how to use your donation. You know what I'm saying? You got 5 on it. So if anybody needs a cash app or to send a donation, just hit us up. I put Ani's email in the chat for those of you all who missed out on his email. You can reach him, remnantsgathering@gmail.com. You can reach us. We love you guys, and we go slide out of here, and we got to do it how we do it. Being from Memphis, you already know what it is, right? For those of you who've been with us for a little while, y'all can go and say this with us. We go ease out of here. But when we're not using YouTube, we got a lot more freedom to do stuff. So we definitely will be getting with our brother to do stuff off of YouTube where we can really dig in, and I can talk dirty like I like to talk, I got to put a little sauce on there with the cussing. I say by the end, some shit not acceptable. But yeah, we love music, and so just being able to just have that freedom to do a lot more, be on the lookout for that, and just stay tuned. We appreciate y'all. Oh yeah. Yeah. So y'all already know what it is, right? Man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace.
Peace.